Hello everyone and welcome back to Barney's Backyard. I'm Barney and today's episode is all about fixing mistakes. So, you've been too eager, you planted your seedlings early, or you've been forced to keep them inside too long because of the weather. Now you find yourself with leggy, yellow looking, root bound plants that you have no idea what to do with. You're wondering how to fix it? This is the video for it. To show you exactly how to do this, we are going to do a little bit of time traveling and we are going to go back to the point where we have faced these problems with our tomato plants. Now today, believe it or not, I'm sitting here in a cap and in my jacket. It's actually the first weekend of June, so we are a little bit late, and as you can see from these plants right next to me as well, these are our transplants. Even though we provided them with a quite large container to start with, these plants are already, they look a little bit leggy, they look a little bit too big, and if you actually pay attention to the root system a little bit, I'm not sure if the autofocus is going to drop on immediately on that, but if you pay attention to the root system a little bit, you can see that it's getting seriously root bound. So it's not looking great. We are late with this, yes. We are possibly 2-3 weeks too late putting them out. Unfortunately, because of the weather up until now, we just didn't have a chance to do it. A week ago it started getting a little bit warmer and the sun came out and we actually got day temperatures to around 20-22 degrees. The evenings didn't drop below like 12, 13, 14, and that's the actual start of the weather when you can start bringing your tomatoes outside. So we spent the last week basically hardening them off. It's one of the big things you have to do when you are doing transplants. We will talk about this later in the video, but we just spent the first week basically hardening them off in the weather. Now they are, at least, they are tough enough, they are resistant enough, to withhold the wind, to withhold the rain and not get burned, not get shocked so much from the transplant. So it's ready. Now earlier on I mentioned already that some of our tomatoes are looking a little bit leggy. Legginess of the plant can come from multiple things. Mostly it's because of the lack of light. This is what I mean, right? There's a lot of stalk with not too much leaves around it. Legginess of the plant can come from a lot of things, but mostly it's because of some lack of sunlight when they start growing. But I'm gonna throw you a curveball here, and I'm gonna tell you that's not always a bad thing. Yeah, of course, sure, if you're growing salads and stuff and they are becoming leggy and it's impossible to grow that plant, yeah, it's a terrible thing. But for some of these plants, for indeterminate tomatoes, for courgettes, for some of them, it's not a big problem. It's actually something that promotes their continuous growth upwards, vertical growth, which is precisely what we need in this garden. So actually these tomatoes are fine as they are. The only thing I'm worried about is that they are quite root bound by now. Now, root bound is, you can hear a lot of stuff about it, right? With some plants it's terrible, with some plants it's not so terrible, but today when we plant them out, I'm going to show you a trick that you can use, 2 tricks actually, that you can use to kind of circumvent or prevent some of the effects of the root bound, and you can still get plants growing fantastically after that. So here we are planting out our tomatoes, and now it's time to start talking about the 2 ways you can kind of undo the damage you have done to your plants by having them root bound. Root bound, it means that the container you have been growing them was too small and the roots reached the end of the container and started growing backwards, kind of turning backwards in on them, and the plant stresses out from that feeling that it doesn't have enough space to grow anymore. Now how to undo that? The 2 best things you can do is 1, dig a very deep, very deep hole, provide enough space for the roots, and use the starter mix that we have featured in our previous videos as well. Now you don't have to use the exact mix. The point of this mix and the most important criteria we're looking for is that it contains mycorrhizal fungi, and if you don't know what that is, that creates a symbiotic relationship with the roots of the plants, providing and promoting the growth of the roots and the development of extra roots. That's 1. 2. Once you actually flip your plant out and you realize how far you're behind planting them and you see this root bound, the best thing you can do is to get a big tub of water. We have here a tub of rainwater. Last night we had a crazy rain, So we have some rainwater here. And gently, ever so gently, ease apart the roots a little bit. Try to undo the quirks and turns in it. Loosen it up. So if you've done it right, you can see that the actual root system of the plant is much longer than the pot was able to provide. And yes, you might have broken some minor roots, but as long as the whole system exists, you put it into this deep hole with the mycorrhizal fungi, with the starter mix, and you provide it enough space to grow. That is the one way to kind of prevent or undo damage done by root bound. Pro tip, you know those tiny little hairs on the side of a tomato stalk? Those hairs are actually tiny little shoots that can become roots as well. So tomatoes can develop roots above the ground. So when you transplant them, make sure to create a little mound and provide some extra ground around the base of the tomato stalk. So you guys remember those leggy, root-bound, not so well looking tomato transplants that I just showed you a moment ago? Well, it's been 3 weeks. Look at this. Look at this. It's been 3 weeks. Look at it. Look at the amount of vegetation. Look at the color of the vegetation. And it's not only the nitrogen, it's not only the gleams. Look at this. Look at the amount of flowers showing. Flowers here, flowers there, flowers there, flowers there, flowers everywhere. It's been 3 weeks. I think this right here is definite proof that it is possible to undo the damage that your transplants getting root bound does. It is possible to undo the damage that the wait, the 2 weeks extra, 3 weeks extra that you have to wait inside with your transplant does. And right, just look at it, look at it. All you need to do is provide them a proper growing medium, provide them enough nutrition and food that they can keep growing, and keep tending to the plants, keep looking after them, keep trimming them, keep pruning them, make sure that they grow the way you want. And look, 1.5 square meters of pure pleasure. And we are back to the present, 1 week after the last clip I just showed you guys. And as you can see, if you're zooming out a little bit, the progress is amazing. We have done our trimmings on it, we have mulched them up. You see how it was last time? Absolutely amazing. 3, 2, 1. Hello everyone and welcome back to Barney's Backyard. I'm Barney and today I have no idea what to talk about. You've been shooting all this time. What the fuck, why? Now I have no idea what I want to say. Is it still shooting? Great.